Have you ever had a child look at you and say, "But mom, who's your favorite?" Hi, I'm Mark, and this is your daily Cornerstone connection. Favoritism can be crazy, am I right? I don't know if you've ever been asked that before. I have children ask that of me, and I say, none of you are my favorite. My wife is my favorite, right? Actually, I'm always asking my mother-in-law, Rachel's mom, I'm always like, "I'm your favorite," right? And she says, "You are my favorite son-in-law." Now, mind you, I'm her only son-in-law, but I'm still like, "Oh yeah." Well, in my devotion today, favoritism actually had huge and even devastating consequences, as often as it does. But I'm still, Ruth, still your favorite. I'm looking at Genesis chapter 27. And so we have Rebecca here, and then we have her two kids, Esau and Jacob. And so last time I spoke, Esau, who was the oldest, did not value his birthright properly, and he gave it away for some stew. Well, in this one, we're clearly going to see how Rebecca favors Jacob the younger. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so he could not see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." And his son answers, "Here I am." And he says, "Behold, I am old, and I do not know the day of my death. Now go, take your weapons, your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me." I don't think he means a bear in this one, just letting Pastor Andy know that. And go and hunt game for, but maybe it was bear. Bear would be pretty good. I'm sorry, I digress. Back to chapter 27 here. "Hunt game for me and prepare for me delicious food such as I love, and bring it to me so I may eat, and that my soul may bless you before I die." Now, Rebecca, who is Jacob's mom, was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau goes out to the field to hunt for the game, Rebecca calls over to Jacob and says, "I heard your father speak to your brother. Bring me game and prepare this food. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 good young goats, so I may prepare them as delicious food, such as your father loves. And you shall bring it to your father to eat, and he'll bless you before he dies." But Jacob looks at Rebekah now very confused and says, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man," right? It goes to show it's always good to have facial hair. "And I'm a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me and will see that I'm mocking him, and he'll curse me." And the mother says in verse 13, his mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go bring them to me." So he does this, and the story kind of goes on, but basically Jacob dresses up as his brother and brings his delicious food and gets this blessing. But the interesting thing that hits me in the story, which is really kind of crazy, is this sets up this whole rift between Jacob and Esau. So much so that they're going to depart, and their relationship, it's going to take, man, I'll tell you, over a decade for their relationship to be reconciled and to be restored. And it happens because Rebekah selfishly favors Jacob over Esau. Favoritism can be a dangerous thing. Maybe you look at it in your family and you've been on the receiving end of that before. And you've been like, "Yeah, I was not favored, and I was not treated well in different situations." But the truth of the matter is that we all have favoritism to some degree. In some level, we all have some favoritism, whether it's at our jobs or whether it's in our families, right? Whatever the case may be. But Scripture gives a good and clear warning here to avoid favoritism, particularly in the family, because it can be really destructive. And so our challenge this week is there someone that you're overlooking as a result of favoritism? Maybe you are very subconsciously putting one child ahead of the other. Or maybe you're avoiding one neighbor because you're like, "I don't talk to that neighbor. I favor this neighbor over here," right? Maybe it's in your workplace. It's like, I don't have as good of a relationship with this coworker because I just don't like him as much. I really like this coworker over here better. Our challenge is, there may be somebody that God's going to use you to tell his story, as Pastor Andy has been sharing with us, and we can tell our story too to that person. And maybe to get to that spiritual conversation, we just have to take that hurdle and get past the favoritism. So don't be like Rebecca and don't show favorites. But seriously, I'm still a favorite. See you guys next time.